It's a great day. 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 Welcome back, guys, to another edition of a review on Atomic Habits by James Clear. My name is James Rico. I'm a writer, director, DP, and business owner. And like before, I still have been specializing in music videos for the last 12 years. And now I'm on a wonderful, beautiful adventure to write my first feature film. And you're probably asking, hey, why do you keep saying that every single episode? And for me to continue to remind myself how great I am, and for you to understand that this is my goal. And with that goal, again, I've been reading, trying to create new habits, trying to find and discover new things. And this is why I'm doing these reactions and reviews. So it not only helps and benefits both of us by learning new habits, it just creates, a habit for me to read every morning, for me to get used to creating content. It's just like nailing a whole bunch of birds with one stone. We're just like knocking out a whole bunch of birds with one stone. Hopefully your today is beautiful. It's Wednesday. It's a hump day. And so let's work through it. Let's develop some new habits. I missed yesterday's review, which was supposed to be chapter 8. Today I read chapter 9. So I'm going to go ahead and do chapter 9 because I just read it. It's fresh in my mind, and then I'm going to go back and do chapter 8. So if you're watching this live, that's what's going on. If you're not watching this live and you are watching this in the future, then hey, you're probably confused as hell about what I'm talking about. But it's all good. So we're reading chapter 9. This is the role of family and friends in shaping our habits. And honestly, this is probably a better chapter than chapter 8. And I think a lot of it had to do with me recognizing, I always talk about with my family. Recently, I talk recently with my family about things that this chapter speaks about, which is reflecting on how I grew up, reflecting on any pressures or anxieties or fears that I have now, and where did they come from. It's the therapy session, right? Trying to figure out where things come from, understanding yourself, self-discovery, so that you can learn your cues, learn your triggers, and use that to your advantage. That's what this whole book is about so far. It's like learning yourself. So, as always, I'm going to read the chapter summary, and then I'm going to go back and kind of discuss what he talks about with that. Key points. So, first point is the culture we live in determines which behaviors are attractive to us. The culture we live in determines which behaviors are attractive to us. He titles it The Seductive Pull of Social Norms. We want to fit in, to bond with others, and to earn respect and approval of our peers. Becoming separated from the tribe, or worse, being casted out, was a death sentence. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. He goes on to say, we don't choose our earliest habits, we imitate them. We follow the script handed down by our friends and our family, our church or our school or our local community, and society at large. Each of these cultures and groups comes with its own set of expectations and standards. Often, you follow the habits of your culture without thinking, without questioning, and sometimes without remembering. A French philosopher, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Michael de Montaigne, wrote, the customs and practices of life and society sweep us along. Most of the time, going along with the group does not feel like a burden. So that's the first point. Second point, he says we tend to adopt the second point of this chapter. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. He says if all your friends are sharing an inside joke or using a new phrase, you'll want to do it so they'll know you get it. Behaviors are attractive when they help us fit in. The third thing he wants you to remember is we tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups. The close, which is family and friends. I'll repeat that. We tend to imitate the habits of 3 social groups. The close, family and friends. The many, the tribe. And the powerful, those with status and prestige. He said each group offers an opportunity to leverage the second law of behavior change and make our habits more effective. One of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is join a culture where, number 1, your desired behavior is a normal behavior, and 2, you already have something in common with the group. So he calls that imitating the close. Proximity has a powerful effect on our behavior. We pick up habits from people around us. We copy the way parents handle arguments, the way peers flirt with another, the way our coworkers get results. Think about when your friend smokes pot. You give it a try too. I find that I often imitate the behavior of those around me without realizing it. In conversation, I will automatically assume the body posture of the other person. As a general rule, the closer we are to someone, the more likely we are to imitate some of their habits. I said habits. As a general rule, the closer we are to someone, the more likely we are to imitate some of their habits. Our friends and family provide a sort of invisible peer pressure that pulls us in their direction. One of the most effective things you could do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Your culture sets your expectation for what is normal. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have yourself. You'll rise together. Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to the tribe. It transforms a personal quest into a shared one. The shared identity begins to reinforce your personal identity. This is why remaining part of the group after achieving a goal is crucial to maintaining your habits. It's friendships, community that embed a new identity and help behaviors last over the long run. The fifth thing he wants you to remember is The fifth thing he wants you to remember about this chapter is the normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. Most days, we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. Most days, you'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. So he says, imitating the many. He gives this like kind of really fun example of an experiment that was held where, I'll show you here, where in this group, there was one individual who wasn't a part of the whole ruse, but let's say it's me or you. We go into a room, they give us 2 cards, and they say which line matches this second card, right? And to our eye, we're going to say B. When we look at this, it looks like this card's line matches B. But what this researcher did is that he put that person, meaning me or you, into a room full of individuals that were a part of the experiment. And he told those individuals to say A or C, meaning say the incorrect answer and see what happens when me or you hears that. And do we change our answer? And what he found is when it was only one individual in the room with him that went against mine or your idea of what we thought was right, we tended to look at that one individual as a dummy or someone that didn't know what they were talking about. But as they increased the number of people in the room that were saying the incorrect answer, the person, the subject, me or you, would change our answer to the majority of the room. So he said he ran this experiment many times. He says as the number of people increased to 3 actors and 4 and all the way to 8, the subject became more likely to second guess themselves. They said, whenever we are unsure how to act, we look to the group to guide our behavior. We're constantly scanning our environment, wondering, what is everyone else doing? But there can be a downside. The normal behavior of tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. Humans are similar. There is tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the group. The reward of being accepted is often greater than the reward of winning an argument, looking smarter, or finding the truth. Most days we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. The human mind knows how to get along with others. It wants to get along with others. This is our natural mode. But you can override it. You can choose to ignore the group or to stop caring about what other people think, but it takes work. Running against the grain of the culture requires extra effort. That's crazy. I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. If I've ever been in that situation where I feel like maybe I experience that much more in times of morality when the group wants to do something immoral or wrong and I don't say anything because I'm not. I don't know. Maybe it's that idea again of I'd rather just let it happen than say something, and you probably see that also when people are in need, when there's a homeless person or there's someone that's struggling on the side of the road. If everyone else is not helping out, then we're just going to keep doing it too. We're passing off the responsibility to someone else because everyone else is. But if we see someone stop and help and, oh, let me help them, you go help them. You do the same thing. So I experience fitting in with the group more with morality. The last thing he wants you to remember is if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. And this is what it says. This is what he talks about when it comes to imitating the powerful. He says we are drawn to behaviors that earn us respect, approval, admiration, and status. Once we fit in, we start looking for ways to stand out. This is one reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. We try to copy the behavior of successful people because we desire success ourselves. Many of our daily habits are imitations of people we admire. You replicate the marketing strategies of the most successful firms in the industry. You make the recipe of your favorite baker. You borrow the storytelling strategies of your favorite writer. You mimic the communication style of your boss. We imitate people we envy. We are also motivated to avoid behaviors that would lower our status. When our mother comes to visit, we clean up the house because we don't want to be judged. We trim our hedges and mow our lawn because we don't want to look like the slob of the neighborhood. We're continuously wondering, what will others think of me? And altering our behaviors based on the answer. So, I sat there and thought, how can I personalize this for myself? And, beyond thinking about the things that I experienced as a kid, seeing how I'm sure as a child or in elementary school and in high school, I probably always wanted to fit in, knowing that I wanted to be a part of and be accepted in some form or fashion. I'm sure we do that a lot as children, unknowingly and knowingly at the same time. We don't know we're doing that. We're just doing it as kids. But when we think back about it now, you're saying, okay, maybe I try to do more stuff that to look for approval, But then when I think about it right now, it's more about the future, present tense. What do I want to do to change my habits? What are the habits that I want to adopt? Healthier lifestyle, being a writer, creating my movie, being a better husband, being a better father, being a better friend, being more positive, putting positive energy out in the world. So then I kind of wrote down some things that maybe it could help it. And when he says, be a part of a culture, be a part of a group, because the more we're a part of that group, where he's the main that main note of if you join a group that has the desired behavior and it's normal, if you join a group where your desired behavior is a normal for that group, you have a common thread and a common identity. It reinforces you to create the identity. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a writer's blog or clubs that I could be a part of. Maybe there's a film community that exists in my area that I could start to attend meetings. Even if I don't believe everything they say, it's more about living and having a connection with others to continue to believe in the dreams that I have. And then there's the photography community as well. I love taking photos. So maybe connecting with more photographers to continue just to see and be inspired and see how they take photos and how they turn out content, and how can I learn from them and then also give back to them by assisting them with things that they need. I want to be a better business owner, so surrounding myself with other like-minded entrepreneurs. Again, even it doesn't matter if they're necessarily are, maybe it doesn't matter as much to whether you are in their field, but more about the conversations of business and how they've overcome struggles, learning from them, and how they approach hiring, how they approach the structure of the business, their structure of their business, how they create success in their business, the failures that they've experienced, and vice versa, sharing those things. And then I thought about my daughter. I was like, okay, my daughter's young. She's about to be 3. What do I want to do to help my daughter, and help her and nurture her identity? And I thought, okay, some things that I've noticed about her is that she loves art. She loves painting. So maybe I need to surround her a little bit more with painting. They gave some examples that I didn't talk about in the book, where a Hungarian man named Laszlo Polgar had this thought that a genius is not born, but is educated and trained. So he trained his 3 daughters to become grandmasters in chess. All 3 of them. He said his oldest began playing chess when she was 4 years old, and within 6 months she was defeating adults. He said his middle child did even better. By 14, she was a world champion. A few years later, she became a grandmaster. And then his youngest daughter, by age 5, she could beat her father at age 12. She was the youngest player ever listed among the top 100 chess players in the world. At 15 years old and 4 months, she became the youngest grandmaster of all time. For 27 years, she was the #1 ranked female chess player in the world. They gave more examples of how he achieved this by surrounding their environment with chess, surrounding them with great chess player pictures, and whenever these girls spoke about their childhood, they spoke about how attractive chess was to them and how much fun they enjoyed it. They never felt pressured. They actually wanted to do it. And so it was fun for them and they wanted to keep learning. So I thought when I heard that story and I read that story, I was like, damn, that's dangerous, because that's where how sensitive your childhood could be to you. If you think back about the things that you did as a child, what did you do? What were the things that were surrounding you? And how has that affected you now? What are you into? And I always remember being 18, 19, 20, and not being able to put a finger on what I'm really talented at, you know? And I think it had a lot to do with me not being interested in sports, although sports was what my father surrounded me with. And I didn't really care. I loved playing them as a kid, but as I grew older, I wasn't interested in it. So there was never other hobbies or any interest that I wasn't really sure what was interesting for me to pick up. And I now have learned, my dad used to be a photographer. My grandfather was a painter. Both sides were painters. One was an artistic painter. The other one did it painting houses. And so there was always a creative piece inside of our family that I don't think was expressed in their lives enough for them to understand that this is a possibility for a living, right? This is a possibility for someone to make a life out of the passion and art and talent that they have. So, I think about my daughter and I say, okay, well, what is she doing that I can nurture it? And that makes me the most excited about having kids, is nurturing my children to listen to what they're good at and push them and help them with whatever they love. I'm not going to force photography or videography around them. If they want to do it, then I will help them. They're going to see me do it. They're going to see me make videos, but that doesn't mean they have to do it. I noticed my daughter is a painter. She loves painting. She loves reading. So I need to be conscious about surrounding her with art and books and reinforce it at an earlier age so that she sees that she can keep working on it. She keep doing it. She also really loves swimming. Well, I think a lot of kids probably like swimming, but she really does love swimming. So that's a health fitness thing that if I continue to help her go to the pool more often, take her swimming more often, be in the pool with her and show her how fun it is, then it's going to make her maybe more interested in athletics and fitness, just fitness in general. I'm not saying you got to be a swimmer, but making sure she sees that health is a priority in our family. Because health wasn't a thing in our family. We ate whatever the hell we wanted and however much we wanted. And whenever I talk about that, whenever I talk against like my childhood, I never want to come off as I resent it, because that's not it. My parents have the most love and respect and faith in all of their children, including myself, and they did the best they possibly could. And it was great. I loved my childhood. And at the same time, I'm a very much advocate to learn about. In college, I was studying psychology, and so it made me open my mind about child psychology. And so I'm always been interested in being respectful to childhood and what you're to a child's early life, to that it will shape them for the remaining part of their life. So having a lot of sensitivity to it. One of the main things I don't do is yell. I don't yell, because that was a thing that always frightened me about my father. And it's not like he thought what he was doing was right by yelling and just disciplining the way he was. This man had 7 kids. I would probably want to yell if I had 7 kids. So I get it. I understand it from his perspective. But at the same time, I understand it from my perspective of what it made me feel like to be yelled at. So this chapter is so beautiful about the idea of how your family and friends do influence you. Whenever again, another personal side of it, it's like whenever I was around people with bad morals or people that did negative things, I would tend to be okay with doing them, or I wouldn't think about them, right? Whenever I'm around more motivated people in fitness or people that are doing positive things, then I would be more motivated to do that. He talks about it too in chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. So I'm saying all these things. I'm giving all these examples to help us understand as we talk about it that we're sitting here reading this book. You're sitting here listening to it because you want to change your identity. You want to change a habit. You want to get over something. You want to grow. And knowing your cues, knowing your environment is the step in the direction from what James Clear is saying. And if you're practicing some of these things as we talk about them on a daily, like if you're already starting to practice these things and be aware of them, this is the goal, to implement it today, not tomorrow, but right now. So I'm identifying all these things and I'm implementing them as each time I read a new chapter, each time I'm giving myself the day to remember what I thought. I could read this whole book. I could sit down and just read this whole book today, but it doesn't mean I digest it. So going day by day, learning one new lesson, getting better by 1% each day. Remember, he talks about that early in the book. 1% better. We just want to get 1% better. The more that we'll get closer to that identity that we're trying to achieve. And that's my goal. I'm going to stop this live here in the next minute and talk about chapter 8, because chapter 8 was something that speaks about how to make a habit irresistible in this habit stacking idea of rewards and what dopamine does to us when we are creating a habit or have a habit already created. And it's about, again, going back to this idea of making the unconscious conscious. I said that in chapter 7's review as well. A reminder, making the unconscious conscious. And this is what you're trying to do so that you can achieve the goal, whatever habit, whatever goals, whatever system you're trying to create. This is what you want to do. So thank you for joining. This is chapter 9. I'm going to go cut this live. I'm going to cut this live and then I'm going to do chapter 8. Both of these reviews, if you're coming in late, are going to be live tonight. I'm going to post one at noon and I'll post another one at probably 9 p.m. or something like that for it to be on our playlist. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk